Welcome to the lineup, Officer Magazine's roundup of this week's police and law enforcement news. I'm your host, Joe Vince, assistant editor for Officer Magazine. And with me today, this week, my co-host, Officer Magazine editor, Paul Peluso. How you doing, Paul?
Hey Joe, thanks for having me. I know been at least a week or maybe two that I've been off of the show here, so glad to be back on with you.
Yeah, I think it's been a while since you and I have also
Yeah.
done this together. So it's nice to have you back or to have us back together. And as always, we've got a packed show, so we're going to get started and jump into things right away. Our first story is out of Colorado in Denver, where just this week, just a dramatic scene at a gas station where officers were called about a armed robbery in progress. When they got there, the suspect, the armed suspect, had actually taken two clerks hostage, and it was a barricade situation. As officers were kind of planning a strategy on trying to resolve the situation, the suspect opened fire. Officers jumped into action, exchanged gunfire with the suspect, and were able to fatally shoot the suspect and rescue two of the clerks who were being held hostage. Two of the clerks actually suffered gunshot wounds, and it appears that they'll survive. One of the officers was shot in the leg, and had to undergo surgery, but thankfully was released. Body camera footage caught all of this, and you see. Um, the chaotic situation that happens when you have this barricaded armed suspect who just opens fire, and you have two civilians that you also have to take care of. But good job of these officers to be able to save those individuals.
Yeah, and the like you said, the body cam video is very dramatic and just seeing him rush in to I believe right they broke the glass when they went
Yeah.
in to the place and to be able to rescue the clerks and just the fire that just erupts as they go in. It's kind of crazy to see. And with a lot of body cam video like this one, you wish that you would see, the public would see more of this. And
Mhm.
it's tough, to get it out. The news does cover it, but it's usually, local news stations like the ones that were showing this. But yeah, it's good to see, officers arrive on scene and act promptly like they did, and luckily this the victims and the officer sound like they're gonna make it through.
Yeah, and it does show just how quickly.
Oh yeah.
I mean, here you go. You've got you have what you feel is a standoff, and then while you're setting up a plan, suddenly everything changes when the guy opens fire, and you see how adaptable officers quickly change their mode, and it becomes an immediate situation, and again the training takes over. So good job by everyone involved. Moving on to our next story. This is out of South Carolina, um, where a North Myrtle Beach police sergeant, Sergeant Christopher Bellamy, was actually reunited with some of the people he had saved in September after three women and a young boy, a 4-year-old boy, became trapped in what is it, a golf cart that had overturned and become submerged in a waterway. Um, Sergeant Bellamy responded to the call, was able to jump into action, went into the water, and what he found too is the women were still strapped into seat belts, and he had to use his pocket knife not only to free the women but also to get access to the boy who was under the water and also strapped in. He was able to get the child out. It was described as pulling his lifeless body from the waterway, and then once he's on shore, he administered CPR and was able to revive the boy. Um, everyone survived, and like I said, they were able. This happened in September, and just now, just this week, they were able to kind of reunite and get together. But you know, we've seen these types of water rescues and the different challenges officers face when they find people trapped in vehicles like this, either having to break windshields or windows, and in this case, having to, you know, cut away seat belts. Again, I'm always it always impresses me the amount of creativity these officers do when it comes to, you know, solving these unexpected challenges on calls.
So I could probably go on and rant for at least 30 minutes about golf carts in general and golf carts in communities like this one in South Carolina. So being right outside of Tampa, a lot of
Hmm.
experience with. I don't own a golf cart. I don't know if I would want to own a golf cart. But I live off of a golf course, and there's the golf carts that you use on the course, but then people have their own golf carts and they'll drive them around, not around town, but around the community. And sometimes after hours, they'll drive them on the golf course. Sometimes their kids will. Uh, but so a couple things here. One, they had seatbelts. It's fantastic. Not a lot
Yeah.
of these have seatbelts. They should have seatbelts if it's going to be street legal. If you're driving it around, it should have proper lights. It should have a license plate. It should have the seatbelts. You would think these are common sense things, but not all the time in Florida. Hopefully in South Carolina, it's a little bit different. The other thing is driving it, because as you can see in the pictures and stuff, they're not on a golf course or down
Hmm.
by, like behind houses and in the residential area. And if you're driving them down by like the retention ponds or by lakes, that it could easily get stuck. You could easily, kind of fall in, and that looks like what happened here. And that can be really tough to maneuver. And plus, it's a water rescue where, yeah, they're all fully clothed, right?
Yeah.
Like that can be difficult along with the seatbelts. Honestly, just so great that they actually had seatbelts, and when you're submerged and it's a water rescue, it's difficult, but you could go flying off. It could be even more disastrous. Um, so yeah, commend the officers, and hopefully they can use this as a teachable moment for golf cart safety.
And not to sound like one of these child safety videos, but I mean, this wasn't deep water. This was 3 feet of water. But when you have this vehicle that is overturned and submerged, I mean, that's as bad as it be in, you know, 10 feet of water, if you can't get out. So, yeah, good job by the sergeant. Moving on to our next story. This is out of Michigan, where you know, we have talked about you know, officers delivering babies on the roadside. I don't want to say it happens; it's a routine thing, but you know, it happens. This one out of Melvindale had a little bit of a twist. Melvindale Police Corporal Mohammed Hakam, and I apologize if I've butchered that name, um, was delivered a baby during a traffic stop. The couple was stopped for speeding because they were racing to the hospital. The woman was in labor. Um, the corporal had was at the scene, and this is the first baby he was going to deliver. And dispatcher decided, is like, all right, well, we're going to get you help on this on the dispatch. Well, his help happened to be his brother, who was a Dearborn dispatcher, and Melvindale and Dearborn share the same dispatch system. And his this corporal's brother was able to help him through to deliver the baby. It was caught on the corporal's body cam. um, I, you know, I'm sure anytime an officer has an experience like this, it's incredibly rewarding. I just imagine that's got to be, you know, twofold. It just to have that, and to have to do it with your brother. It's like to team up to bring a life into the world. It's got to be a great feeling. So, you know, great job by both of them.
Yeah, what a cool story. To be, yeah, team up with your brother, who's a dispatcher. I think that's so great, and definitely shows, the teamwork between officers on patrol and dispatchers in general, but just being able to do it with that family connection. It's so cool.
Yeah, and just what a weird coincidence too that all kind of came together. So, moving on to our next story. This is out of Texas in Dallas, where the Dallas Police Department is seeing great improvement with their recruiting class and their hiring. They are shooting to try to keep getting their recruiting classes above 60 for each class, and in an effort to hire 350 officers by the end of their next fiscal year. Dallas is also there's a city measure that where they are required to reach a certain number of officers. Proposition U requires the city to hire of up to 4,000 officers and no less than half of any new revenue year over year to go to the pension system and public safety initiative. So, they're every department across the country has faced these types of recruiting and hiring challenges. Um, we're really starting to see, especially in the larger cities, where they're seeing improvements, and whether that's through their recruitment tactics, whether it's just a general change in how people are viewing law enforcement careers. They're seeing more people, and I believe their last class that graduated, they had 51 officers who recruits, and then 40 of them ended up getting their badges. So, it's not like they're getting a bunch of recruits and half the class is washing out, and they're not really getting that many officers. So this is good to see, and it's encouraging.
Yeah, and I think at the beginning of the year, I remember seeing these stories out of Dallas too. In February, City Council set the goal of 300 new officers, and some even wanted it to be 400 by through September. So now they're trying to push it even further with these new recruit classes. And like you said, it's not like the whole, because you'll get so many recruits and then not all of them make it in the end.
Mhm.
And yeah, you're not seeing them all wash out. It does seem like Dallas is one of the big cities. It's kind of on the forefront of this, hiring more, getting bigger recruit classes, and hopefully it, eventually bucks the trend of police forces with not enough manpower. And it seems like, slowly but surely we're kind of getting back here.
Moving on to our next story. This is out of Florida, and these are some of my favorite stories. Uh, um, Florida Indian River County Sheriff's deputies um, had a bit of a surprise during a standoff. A stolen vehicle suspect that they were trying to get out of a building literally fell into their arms. He just dropped out of the ceiling during the standoff after hours of refusing to surrender. Um, uh, he apparently thought he was able to um, hide in an attic, and this was going to be his way to escape authorities. Didn't quite work out that way. Video shows him just dropping out of the ceiling. Um, at least this sounds like an attic, and it wasn't one of those cases of someone getting, thinking they're in Die Hard and getting in an air vent, or just the space in a drop ceiling. Um, so I give that person at least a little credit with not doing that, but still, ugh.
Yeah, so I think we could create our own America's Funniest Home Videos with just Florida suspects, Florida criminals doing just stupid stuff. But this reminds me of, like, my kids always get excited for an attic. when they see that a house has an attic. Not all the houses here do, and we don't have basements down here. So
Yeah.
that extra space. And when they think attic, they think like the movie Casper. Anybody out there remembers in like people going into old attics and really old houses and they kind of get the like explore and stuff. I'm like, attics aren't like that. It's just an extra storage space. And then you got to make sure that they have like plywood over top of the, the trusses so you're not just stepping on the ceiling and falling through the ceiling like this dude did. So I think it's just it's funny that this keeps happening, that you see these all the time. And yeah, for any would-be criminals out there, just don't step through the ceiling.
I always wanted Greg Brady's groovy attic bedroom. So, um, moving on to our next story. This is out of Pennsylvania, um, where Bethlehem police officers just had to follow the money, literally, to apprehend suspects who they connected with a string of gas station robberies. It happened that one of the suspects, after a one of their robberies, ran in. His vehicle struck a police surveillance van, and as he fled, he left a trail of cash, a trail of money behind him that the officers used to just followed and were able to apprehend this suspect as well as another one. This would not have happened to Robert De Niro and Val Kilmer in Heat. I'm just saying. But good work by these officers.
Yeah, in a world where we ban the use of literally, this was literally a trail of cash
Yeah.
that
Yep.
led to him. So yeah, another stupid criminal story, but yeah, that is funny. That is rich.
both
So
both both of these stories, we're able to use literally properly,
yes.
literally dropped into their arms,
Yep.
literally following the cash. So uh moving on to our final story. This is out of Hawaii, and we don't get a lot of stories from Hawaii. This is Honolulu, just a heartwarming story. um Kamana Kalama had lost his father, who was a Honolulu police officer, in 2020, and then a few months later, his mom died, and he was still in his teens when this happened. He went to live with a relative who was also actually a police officer. But one of the things that he always wanted was to go back to his home. And now the community has sort of rallied around this, and they're rebuilding his house so that he can live there. And this is such a great story. Here was a kid who lost both of his parents at a young age, and he's struggling with that, and also then being losing his home in the sense that he's got to go live with a relative, and for what this is 5 years later, for this community to still think of him and looking out for him. It's just great. Everyone involved with this. I mean, I love to see these kinds of stories.
Yeah, what a great story to end on today.
Hmm.
His father was an officer. His family member he was staying with is an officer, and he considered becoming an officer. Looks like he's going to become a firefighter, but whole family, has that connection to public safety.
Yeah.
And just nice to see the community step up for him and his family. And yeah, just great story. And good job on the pronunciation of those names too. That can be tough, but yeah, glad we have a Hawaii story in there. And yeah, that it's just great to see from the family and the community.
That wraps it up for this episode. Thanks as always, for listening. This episode kind of featured, we had stories of valor, we had heartwarming stories, and we had dumb criminal stories. Well, those three areas, we're going to be in the coming weeks. We're going to have special episodes that kind of look back at some of our favorite stories in these categories, if you will. And so it's always it's one of the episodes I enjoy doing a lot, or these, because it goes back and these are the kinds of stories we like to talk about too. So, look forward to those. It's going to be we'll start around Thanksgiving and then towards the end of the year too. So, we just keep on the lookout for that.
Great. And yeah, Joe, that's going to be great to be able to do some of those holiday themed episodes of the podcast. And yeah, we're what, November 14th here. So we're entering
Yeah.
that silly season of the holidays, and what, Black Friday's right around the corner. So that's always fun.
Oof.
But yeah, so everybody out there, of course, stay safe while you're out on patrol. Anything else to add, Joe?
Take care and stay safe.